Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Kill Team Battle Report. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, coming to you here from Savannah Line Games in Pooler, Georgia, where I'll be fighting a 200-point battle, commander kill team battle with elites between my Genestealer Cult and Neil's Thousand Sons. The story that we've got going on here is that the Thousand Sons were establishing a base that was operating out of this planet here, and everything seemed to be going well until suddenly they found that the populous was rising up against them, which angered them immensely, that how dare they rise up against the Thousand Sons. But when they started to get into the thick of things, trying to shut it down quickly, they soon realized that they were in fact having to deal with a Genestealer Cult uprising. So that's the story that we got going on. We're going to be playing one of the missions from the Elites book, which is going to be smash their champions, or crush their champions. So essentially, deployments are squares that are kind of in the middle over here, so away from the edges. They are also going to be that at the end of the game, if someone's broken, if only one team's broken, then the one who's unbroken wins. Otherwise, it comes down to you get 3 points for taking out the enemy commander, and you get 1 point for taking out enemy specialists. In addition to all of that, if your commander is lost, you automatically break the next time you have to test for breaking to see if you break. And if your commander takes out an enemy model, all friendly models within 6 inches of them that are shaken are no longer shaken. So pretty cool addition there with the commanders. So before we go any further, though, let's show you the two kill teams that are going to be facing it off. So for the Genestealer Cult, my kill team will consist of, from left to right here, my commander, who is a Sanctus. We then have my leader, who is a Neophyte leader. We then have a Zealot specialist, who is an Aberrant with a power pick. We have a Heavy specialist, who is a Neophyte gunner with a mining laser. And we have a Combat specialist, who is an Acolyte fighter with a hand flamer and a heavy rock saw. Then for the rest of the crew here, we have 2 more Aberrants with power picks. We have an Acolyte leader with a hand flamer. We have an Acolyte with a hand flamer. We have an Acolyte fighter with a heavy rock saw. We have a Neophyte gunner with a mining laser, and 4 Genestealers. And for the Thousand Sons, his kill team will consist of, from left to right, his commander, who is a Zangor shaman on a disc with a staff. We then have his leader, who is a Scarab Occult aspiring sorcerer with a staff and a combi bolter. We then have 2 Scarab Occult gunners with Soul Reaper cannons and power swords. One will be a demolitions expert, one will be a heavy expert. We then have a aspiring sorcerer with a staff, an Inferno bolter, bolt pistol, who is going to be his combat specialist. And to round it all off, we have a Scarab Occult Terminator here with a combi bolter and a power sword. All right, so those are the 2 kill teams going over deployment here. I've got my heavy specialist over here. I've got my other gunner on the other side over there. I've got a pure strain. I've got my Acolyte fighter, or my Acolyte, regular Acolyte with the hand flamer there. I've got one of my Aberrants here. I've got the fighter with the rock saw there. I've got the Acolyte leader with the hand flamer and another pure strain behind him. I've got a pure strain down in the corner over there. Over on this side, I've got my combat specialist, and I've got my other Aberrant with a pick, regular pick, and I have another pure strain. I've got my Sanctus up on top over here. Back over here, I've got my leader. And then back over here, I've got my Zealot specialist, who is my Aberrant with the pick there. So that is deployment for the Genestealer Cult. Going over deployment for the Thousand Sons, we've got his 2 gunners up on top over here. Both of them just set up over here. We've got his commander back over here. We've got his aspiring sorcerer combat specialist over here. And then in reserves, he's going to place his leader and his other regular Terminator. But because he has his leader out there, what happens is at the beginning of the first turn here, I will get 2 command points, but my opponent will only get 1 because it has to be on the table at the beginning of the turn. So that's the deployment. We will now roll off to see who will have initiative going into turn 1.
Oh yeah, I remember when I finally saved up enough gold to get that.
My opponent gets a 7, I get an 8, so we'll come back to you with that. All right, so my cult ambush ability, I rolled all 3 of these guys. So my Aberrant, my fighter, and my regular Acolyte there with the hand flamer, all were able to move up. He was not able to move up. That's my Acolyte leader. This guy, my combat specialist, was able to moved up over this way, and I think that was it. That was all the ones that were able to move. So, now, at the beginning of the first battle round, I am going to use the Sanctus's tactic, which is 2 CP, so it's pretty hefty, but it allows him to now shoot as though it's the shooting phase. So he's going to take a shot into his shaman over there. So it's going to be 1d. I shoot this one shot with his sniper rifle there, hitting on a 2s because the rifle doesn't suffer the penalties for being at long distance, and because he has his familiar there, he doesn't suffer the penalty for being obscured. So it's just going to be hitting on a 2. That is a hit. Strength 4, toughness 4. So looking for a 4 to wound. That's not a hit. I don't have anything to re-roll that, so that is going to be it. All right, movement phase for the Genestealer Cult here on turn 1. I am Cult of the doing the Twisted Helix, which gives me +1 strength and +2 inches to advances. Everybody advanced except for my heavy specialist, my other gunner, my Sanctus, and then my leader down over here. They all are going to ready themselves. I don't think my leader can see anyone, but these guys all readied themselves. Everybody else advanced and got the +2 inches, except for the pure strains. Those guys don't get the benefit of that, which is poopy, but you know, it is what it is. So that is going to be it for movement phase for the Genestealer Cult here. We'll come back to you after movement phase for the Thousand Sons. All right, so movement phase for the Thousand Sons. His sorcerer moved up over this way, looking down over here. These 2 guys readied themselves, and he moved up over this way to look down over that way. His reserves are going to stay in reserves for now. They just have to come in before turn 3. So that's going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the psychic phase. All right, so starting off the psychic phase, my opponent is going to start with him. His sorcerer there is going to Cybolt into my aberrant over here. So looking for a 5. That goes off an 11, which is actually D3 mortal wounds onto him. So D3 mortal wounds, doing 2 mortal wounds, which takes him down to 0. So here we go. Let's see if he's out of action. No, he takes a flesh wound. My opponent's actually going to spend his 1 command point to try to re-roll that injury roll into a 2, so still a flesh wound. All right, so he's actually a psyker specialist for the commander there. So that actually was +1 there, so he got a 12, but it still doesn't make a difference. It still did the same thing, 11 plus, and they get D3 mortal wounds. Also, for everyone saying the aberrants get the field of pain, not in kill team. That's only in a regular one. So it reduces damage by 1, but those are 2 separate mortal wounds that were put onto him. So that's how that worked out. All right, Thousand Sons chapter tactic is they get to you 2 guys have to be elected to psych here. So this guy is now going to put Cybolt onto my acolyte down over there with the hand flamer. So here we go. Looking for a 5 to go off. Getting it with an 8, so that's going to be 1 mortal wound onto him, which is going to be enough to get him out there. And a 3, he takes a flesh wound. All right, so we're going to start off the shooting phase here now with my Sanctus. He's going to fire into his demolitions expert over here. So it's going to be 1 shot, hitting on a 2. That is a hit. Wounding on a 4. That is not a wound. All right, so now his demolitions expert is going to fire into my Sanctus. He is more than half range, so it's -1 to his hit roll there. He's also got obscured, which is -1, and he has a camo cloak, which gives, if he's obscured, gives him an additional -1 to the hit. So he will be hitting on 6s, getting no hits. All right, so now my heavy specialist here is going to fire into his dude bro here. I am going to be hitting on a 6 because he's at more than half range and obscured over here. So hitting on a 6, showing I fell first. New. And now his heavy specialist is going to fire into my heavy specialist. So he's going to be 4 shots, hitting on 5s because of range and of obscurement. Getting 1 hit. Strength 5, so looking for a 3 to wound. That is a wound. AP -3, so that's just going to go straight through. So now injury test here. No, takes a flesh wound. And now my other mining laser guy is going to be shooting into him. Hitting on 6s because of range and obscurement. No hit. All right, so now his dude bro over here is going to be firing into my acolyte down there. So he's going to have 1 shot. It's at long range with his pistol, but it's not obscured, so he's hitting on a 4. No hit. All right, so that is the end of turn 1 there. There are no fights to be had here. There's no morale test to be taken, so we are now going to roll for initiative to see who has it going into turn 2. I rolled a 9. My opponent rolled an 8. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Genestealer Cult. All right, movement phase for the Genestealer Cult here. I'm going to have a few that I'm going to have to do after it, but I'll go over what I've got so far because wanted to show you some charges that are going to clear some guys out of the way. So first, we have my heavy specialist moved up over this way looking on these guys. He readied himself. This pure strain over here advanced up over this way. And everyone else is going to, well, this guy, my zealot specialist, actually advanced himself up to the top over here because he was all the way at the bottom. So now we're going to have some charges to hopefully clear the ways for some other guys who are probably going to advance into position. So the first one we're going to do is the guy down here is going to charge into his heavy specialist up here. Cannot see him because he's down below over there. So he's going to need what was it? I think it was a 7-inch charge. 7-inch charge for him to get in over there. He's not going to make it with that. I'm going to spend a CP to re-roll that. And he does make it with a 10. All right, so my other aberrant here is also going to charge into him, looking for an 8-inch charge for him. No, don't make it with a 7. All right, so now my fighter here is going to charge into this guy up here. We need a 10-inch charge to make it into this one. Whoa. So that 3, even if the other one that fell off the table is a 6, would not make it in. And then my other acolyte there is going to charge in. Again, 10 inches will get him in. Not on a 4. All right, so the rest of the movements that happened over here, everyone just kind of ended up over on this side. And these guys ended up over on this side. He moved down to there after his failed charge. So that's going to be it for the movement phase for Genestealer Cult. We'll come back to you after movement phase for the Thousand Sons. All right, so that is going to be the movement phase now for the Thousand Sons. This guy is locked in combat. He is going to ready himself. He's going to charge, cannot fail that charge, so we're just going to let him in there. And then he is going to charge into my aberrant over here. So he needs anything but a double 1. Ooh, that was close, but that's what he needed to get in. All right, so into the psychic phase now. We're going to start with his shaman into my dude bro over here, looking for a 5 or a 4 on the dice because he gets +1. That is going to be good, so that's going to be 1 mortal wound onto him. And then his sorcerer here is going to do it into my zealot. Gets it on a 7, so he's going to take a mortal wound as well. All right, so my Sanctus is going to start us off in the shooting phase into his demolitions expert. So hitting on a 2. That is a hit. Wounding on a 4. Hey, with a 6. That is a mortal wound in addition, plus it's a wound. So it's going to be AP -1. So he's going to have a 3-up save. Because he's 2+ armor, so AP -1. 3-up save.
He has all his dust.
Oh, all his dust. So it's actually going to be a 2+ because it ignores that AP -1. And he's good. All right, so now his demolitions expert is going to shoot into my heavy expert over here. So he's going to have 4 shots, hitting on 4s because of being obscured. That is going to be 3 hits. These are going to be strength 5, which would be wounding him on 3s, but because he's a demolition expert and he's obscured, it will be wounding on 2s. That is going to be 3 wounds. AP -3, so those are just going to go straight through. What's the damage on that? 1. So you have 1 injury roll to take over here, +1 because he's already got a wound there. Oh, takes another flesh wound. Opponent's going to spend a command point to reroll that. Into a 6, he is out of action. So my mining dude bro is going to fire into him. Range and obscurement means that he is hitting on a 6. No hit. All right, so now my dude bro over here is going to start us off by attacking into his guy over here. So it's going to be 2 attacks hitting on 3s with his power pick. So that's going to be 2 hits. Strength 6 because of being twisted helix. Wounding on 3s. That is going to be 1 wound. AP -2. So he's looking for a 4-up save. It is D3 damage. So here we go. On a 6, he's good to go.
All
right, so now his dude bro over here is going to attack into my zealot specialist. He's got 3 attacks because he's the combat specialist. So these are going to be hitting on 3s. Getting 1 hit. This is now going to be strength +2, so because he's got the staff, wounding on a 3. That is a wound. AP -1, so it's going to be looking for a 6-up save. Show me that, Phil, first. No, it goes through, so D3 wounds. 3 damage, so that's going to take him down to 0. So now he rolls 3 injury rolls here. And that was 5. He's going to be dead. All right, so now his shaman is going to attack into my aberrant over here. So the yellow-orange die is going to be the disc, and the others are going to be his attacks. These are going to be hitting on 3s. So that's all but one hit there. These are going to be strength 4, right? Or
Strength 6, that's strength 4.
those are strength 6. This is strength 4. So that's going to be wounding on a 4. That's going to be a wound, and then these are going to be strength 6, so wounding on 3s. All right, so that's going to be 1 wound from there too. So that's AP
-1, minus nothing.
-1 and minus nothing. So the -1 is going to be 6. No, that's going to go through. So he will do an injury roll for that one. And a 6, he's out. All right, so that is going to be it. We do have some nerve tests to take here. My guy down here has a flesh wound, so he has to take a test. There's 3 guys out, so 3 plus 2 is 5. He's good to go. And same thing with my dude bro over there. 3 plus 4 is 7. He's also good to go. So that's going to be it for round 2 here. So now we're going to go into the 3rd round. We will roll to see who has the initiative going into 3. I rolled a 4. My opponent rolled a 9. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Thousand Suns. All right, movement phase for Thousand Suns. His 2 gunners readied themselves, as did his aspiring sorcerer over here, and his Zangor on a Zangor shaman on a disc moved up over this way, trying to get some line of sight down over here for his psychic abilities. That's going to be it for the movement phase. These guys are going to come in at the end of the movement phase, so I have to do my movement before they can come in. So we'll come back to you with the Genestealer Cult movement. All right, so starting off the movement phase, everyone's charging. All these guys are going to be charging. These guys are going to ready. So we're going to start over here with this guy down here. He's going to charge into his demolitions expert up over there. Cannot see him, so 7 inches will get him in. All right, my acolyte down there is going to charge into his aspiring sorcerer. So he does have a pistol overwatch here. Just looking for a 6. No, does not hit him. And his distance, 7 inches. Woo, might. Let's find out. My pure strain over here needs an 8-inch charge to get into his Terminator dude bro over there. He does with a 10. And then this guy needs a 9-inch charge to get in. He's in with a 10. My aberrant down here is going to charge into his heavy specialist. Cannot see him. And a 7-inch he'll get in. My pure strain here is going to charge into his shaman up there, and 9 inches will get him in. My combat specialist is going to do the same thing. 8 inches, woo, it will get him in. My pure strain here is going to need a 9-inch charge to get into that Terminator. Oh, he's in with an 11. And now my leader is going to charge into his Terminator back over there. 8 inches, whoa, I don't think that's going to get him in. All right, he needs a 9-inch charge, but I'm going to spend the CP to reroll that. No, he's not in. All right, so at the end of the movement phase, my opponent brought in his reserves. So his leader dropped in over here 5 inches away from my commander. His other dude bro dropped in over here 5 inches away from my leader, who is right back over there. So that is going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the psychic phase.
In combat.
All right, so we're going to start off the psychic phase with this guy giving using side bolt against him. So looking for a 5. Goes off with a 9, so he will take a mortal wound, which he's already at a flesh wound, so +1 to this roll. On a 5, he's out. And then his leader is going to side bolt into my commander over here. So he's looking for a 5 to go off. And on a 7, he takes a mortal wound. All right, so we're going to start the shooting phase with my commander, my Sanctus, shooting into his leader over here. So looking for a 2 to hit. That is a hit. Looking for a 4 to wound. That's a 4 to wound. AP -1. So he's got a 3-up save.
And all his deaths ain't help me.
Oh, but he's good. All right, so my Mighty Laser guy is going to shoot into his aspiring sorcerer over here. You can just see him. Going to be hitting on a 6 because he's obscured and more than 12 inches away. No hit. All right, so my leader is going to fire into his dude bro down over here. 2 shots with his auto gun. That is going to be 1 hit. That is going to be a wound. So he's got a 2-up armor save.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah, he's good. All right, so now his dude bro here is going to fire into my leader. 4 shots because he's in rapid fire range, hitting on 3s. That is going to be 1 hit. Strength 4, so looking for a 3 to wound. That is a wound. AP -2 is going to go straight through. So let's see if he is out of action. On a 2, he takes a flesh wound. All right, so we're going to start at the fighting phase with my combat specialist here into his shaman over there. So that's going to be 3 attacks because he's the combat specialist, hitting on 3s. That is going to be 3 hits. Strength 5 times 2, so strength 10 into his dude bro there. So wounding on 2s. That is going to be 3 wounds. AP minus 4. So he's got an invul 5 up saves. No. Failed all of them. So that's going to be 6 damage. He is definitely dead. So 2 injury rolls here, or he's got all his wounds are down to 0. So we're going to have 2 injury rolls here because the damage of that weapon is 2. And on a 4, he is out of action. All right, so now my Pure Strain here is going to attack into his Terminator. He's going to have 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That is all hits. Strength 4, toughness 4. Wounding on 4s. That is going to be 1 wound at AP minus 1. So this is going to be looking for a 3-up save. He's good. So now my Aberrant's going to attack into him. 2 attacks hitting on 4s. Because he's wounded, that's going to be 2 hits. Strength 6 because of being Twisted Helix. Wounding on 3s. That is going to be 2 wounds. AP minus 2 on the pick here. So this is going to be looking for 4 up saves on your dude bros there. Makes them both. All right, so now the Pure Strain down here is going to attack. 3 attacks on 3s. That's going to be 2 hits. Wounding on 4s. That's going to be 1 wound, AP minus 1, so 3 up save. No, he takes a wound. He was actually already wounded, so let's see what happens. On a 3, he takes a flesh wound. And now this guy is going to attack into him too. My other Pure Strain. That's going to be 2 hits. That's going to be no wounds. And now my Rocksaw guy is going to attack into him. That's going to be 2 hits. Strength 10, so wounding on 2s. That is 2 wounds. AP minus 4, so he's got, what, a 5-up invul save? So 2 5-ups. Ooh, fails them both, so he's already down to 0 wounds, so that's going to be 2 injury roll tests here because of it being damage 2. That's going to be a 4 plus 1, so he is out of action. All right, so now my opponent will attack back over here with his Terminator into my Aberrant. So it's going to be 2 attacks here, hitting on 3s. Getting 1 hit. Strength 4, toughness 4, so looking for a 4 to wound. That is a wound that's going to go straight through, so now we have an injury test here. AP minus 3, yeah, that's going to go straight through his armor there. So now we have the injury roll here. On a 3 plus 1, because he's already got a flesh wound, he is out of action. So after that Aberrant was taken out of action over there, I spent 3 command points for the tactic called the Cult Innumerable, which allows me to set up my dude bro back in my deployment zone more than 9 inches away from his model over here, and he just comes back. He still counts as a casualty at the end of the game, but yeah, I now have an Aberrant back here in my back zone that was already that was suffering from all these guys doing their fun stuff. So that's going to be it for the fight phase. So we'll come back to you at the end for the morale phase. Possible. All right, so that morale phase now, because I killed his commander, my opponent's army is now broken, and it will be for the rest of the game here. But he doesn't have to take any nerve tests because none of them have flesh wounds on them right now, and because there's only 2 guys out, they can't actually fail since the lowest leadership he has for the 2 Terminators is 8. The other guys are 9. So I still got to kill some guys before he can start taking some nerve tests, but still, I'll take it. That's pretty good. So that's going to be it for the turn here on turn 3. So now we will roll to see who has the initiative going into turn 4. I rolled a 7, my opponent rolled a 10, so I'll come back to you after movement phase for the 1,000 Suns. All right, so into the movement phase. This guy's going to stay in combat over there, and then we're going to have some assaults now. So this guy over here is going to charge into my Sanctus. I'm going to fire Overwatch here, looking for a 6. Show me that fell first. No hit there. So he needs a 5-inch charge to get in because he had to be outside of 5 inches when he dropped in over there. So he's got 2 command points now. We both have 2 command points because both our leaders are alive. So he needs a 5-inch charge over here. Makes it with a 6. This guy down here is going to charge into my leader, Overwatching. Not getting any hits there. So now here comes his charge. Needs a 5-inch charge. Makes it with an 8. And then this guy's going to charge him over here. We'll roll. I don't think it makes a difference here.
Really?
I think he's going to be pretty much in. Definitely in with a 7. All right, so my movement phase, we're going to start with my Pure Strain here, charging into his dude bro over there. And the 6 inches will get him in. Combat Specialist is going to charge into him. He'll be in with a 10. My Pure Strain here is going to charge into him. 3 inches will not make it in. I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll that. That will get in on an 8. And this fighter here is going to charge in. He's in with a 7. And my aberrant here is going to charge into his dude bro over there. 3 inches. We might get him in. We'll see. And this guy here is bored, so he's going to charge into his dude bro up here. He's an 8-inch charge to get in. And he's in to the 10. And then my leader down here is going to charge up in here. On a 9 inches, he will be in. All right, so into the psychic phase. This dude bro is going to use Cybolt into my rock saw bro. So here we go, looking for a 5. Gets it on a 10. So he is going to have 1 mortal wound, which goes straight through. So now his injury test. On a 4, he's out. And then his leader here is going to psych into my Sanctus. So here we go. So here comes his, looking for a 5 to go off. It does on a 9, so he'll take another wound. All right, so my opponent is going to spend 2 CP for Decisive Strike here to attack at the beginning of the fight phase here. He's going to attack with his Dubro here into my Combat Specialist. So here he goes with 2 attacks here, hitting on 3s. That's going to be 2 hits. These are Strength 4, so wounding on 3s. Those are both going to go through. So here we have an injury test now. So here we go. 1 die, because there's only 1 damage. And he's out of action. All right, so after Decisive Strike, you then go into the initiative. My opponent has the initiative, so he's going to start with this guy attacking into my Sanctus. I am going to spend 1 CP on Blinding Acid Spit, which I roll a dice. On a 4+, I subtract 1 from all of his attacks into me over here. So, on a 4+, no! Waste of CP. All right, so here we go. Here come his attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay, he would have been hits anyway, so that's 2 hits. These are Strength 6, so wounding on 2s because he's tough 3. Those are both wounds. AP -1. So it's going to be looking for 6-up saves. Show me those fill faces! No, I make neither of them. So it's going to be D3 damage. So the first one is 2 damage, which is enough to take him out. So 2 injury rolls here. 1 second. All right, so here we go. Because that one, the D3 gave him 2 wounds, took him down to 0. He will now roll 2 injury rolls here. And on a 6, he is out of action. All right, so I'm going to activate my aberrant down here that charged. So he's going to have 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. That is going to be 2 hits, wounding on 3s because it's Strength 6 with Twisted Helix. That's going to be 2 wounds, AP -2. So these are going to be AP -2, so looking for, whatchamacallit, looking for 4-ups.
They're multis?
Yes, okay. D3 each. Makes 1, fails 1. D3 damage here. Come on. On 2 damage, that's gonna go through. So here we go. 2 injury rolls, because it's 2 damage. And on a 4, he's out of action. All right, so now his guy who charged into him, well, no, because he was charged, so we can attack him too. So he's going to attack into him. Here comes his attacks here. He's the Combat Specialist. He's going to have 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That is 3 hits. These are Strength 6, so looking for 3s to wound. That is going to be 2 wounds. 5-up saves because they're Genestealers. Failed both of them, so that's going to be D3 damage to the, it doesn't make a difference. So we'll do the 2. So now 2 injury rolls on him. Oh yeah, he's out. All right, so now the rest of my guys are going to get to attack back. So we're going to go over here with, or no, I guess he didn't charge. So we'll go to him last. We'll go to my my guy over here that attacked into him. That's going to be 2 hits. That's going to be 1 wound, AP -1, so 3-up save. He's good. And then my leader here is going to attack. That's going to be 2 hits. That is going to be 2 wounds. Wounding, looking for AP -1, so 3-up saves. What's that? Oh, 1 second. All right, so he's going to have 2-up saves because of all his dust. Because there's only 1 damage, he's good. All right, so now this guy over here is going to attack into him. That is a hit. That is a wound! 2-up save into your leader over here.
1 wound, multi-wound.
2-up save, 1 wound. So you can't get better than 2-up. Oh! No! And he takes a wound! Woo! Now this pure strain is going to attack into him. So that's going to be 1 hit. That is not a wound. And then my other pure strain into him. That's going to be 2 hits. That's going to be no wounds again. All right, so that's the end of turn 4 there. We've got a morale test to take now because we're both broken. Because I also lost my commander that turn. So now I'm going to have to roll to see who is shaken. I need to roll a 1 for everyone because I've got 8 guys out of action. So they're going to all need 1s to auto pass on this. So we're going to start with my leader down there. On a 5, he is shaken. The aberrant right next to him is shaken. This dude bro up here is shaken. Oh boy. Pure strain over here is shaken. The leader guy here is okay. Pure strain over here is 2, 8, 9, 10 is shaken. And this pure strain over here is shaken. Everybody's shaken except for this guy. Not great. So my opponent also has to make some leadership tests here because he lost 3 guys. So this guy technically on a 6 would fail his leadership test. So let's see on a 6. No, he's good. So his guys are all good. So that's going to be rough. But now we will roll to see if it even goes on to a turn 5 here. Do you want to roll to see if it goes on? Looking for a 3 up. It does. So it'll come. Now we will roll to see who has initiative. I rolled an 11, as did my opponent. So I rolled a 9, as did my opponent. Weird. I rolled. Okay, that's again. Stop getting in my head. There we go, and I take a 7. So there we go. I will see what I can do. All right, movement phase. The only thing I can do is he's going to stay in combat. So we'll come back to you with the movement phase for the Thousand Sons. All right, Thousand Sons are going to stay in combat because why not? So we'll come back to you with the psychic phase. All right, this guy's going to start us off by psyching into my dude bro over here, my hero of the day who put that 1 wound onto him, looking for a 5. Oh, he gets it with a 9. Is he out of action? Injury roll. No, he takes the flesh. Going to spend a command point to re-roll this. Because he really wants him dead. He didn't like getting wounded by a little nobody over there.
How dare
Oh, he is out. And then he is also going to psych into my dude bro over here. On a 9, that will give him a mortal wound. So here we go. On a 1, he takes a flesh wound. All right, so shooting phase. My one guy who can do anything is going to use his hand flamer to fire into his dude bro there. So D6 auto hits. 6 auto hits. Looking for 5s to wound. Getting 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds. Gotta hope for those 1s here because it's no AP nothing. So 2 up armor saves. Oh, he takes a wound. He's gonna spend his last command point to make it a save. And he's got an Infernus bolter, Infernus pistol. He's gonna shoot into him here. So it's going to be hitting on a 3. That's a hit. Wounding on a 5 will definitely wound him. -2, but he's got a 5-up invul save because he is a pure strain. Yeah, with the filters. Woo! All right, so into the fight phase. My guy gets to go first. 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's going to be 2 hits. Win on 4. Sorry, yes, 4. So that's going to be 2 hits there. Wounding on 4s. Oh no, wounding on 3s because he's Cult Twisted Helix, so he's strength 5. That's going to be 1 wound, AP -1, but he's got +1 because of the all his dust. So 2-up save. Oh, he's good. All right, and this guy now is going to attack into my pure strain over there. So it's going to be 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. No wound. And then his aspiring sorcerer is going to attack over here. 3 attacks. He's a combat specialist, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. That's 2 wounds. 2 5-up invul serves. Make 1, failed 1, so it's going to be D3 damage. 1 damage, 1 injury test, +1. He is out. All right, so that's the end of the turn here. We do have a morale test to take, see if my guys are. So we're going to start with my leader. On a 2, he's still shaken. The aberrant next to him. On a 1 is good to go. Pure strain up here. On a 6 is shaken. The leader. Shaken. The pure strain next to him is good to go. I'll take that. So now, your guys, this guy, 1 guy, does have to take a leadership test over here. On a fool, close. 5, he's good to go because he's leadership 8. So, that is the morale test. So now we will roll to see if we go into a turn 6. The final deciding turn here. Oh, we do. So we'll come, let's roll now for initiative on turn 6. On a 5, my opponent rolled a 7, so he will go first. All right, so now this guy is going to multi-charge into my 2 guys here. He's shaken, so he cannot fire Overwatch, so here comes his charge. Oh, he's in. All right, movement phase. Everyone is shaking except for this one guy, but he's going to stay in combat over there. And then I am going to move my Aberrant. The one guy who passed over here needs an 11-inch charge to run straight up the ladder there to get into combat with him. I need an 11. Let's do this. Show me that 11. No, but I'm going to spend a command point to reroll it because this is my last chance to try to do something. Oh, with the double 6s! Woo! All right, so into the psychic phase, he is going to cast Psybolt into my Aberrant over here. So 2d6, looking for a 5. Gets it off, takes a wound. And then his Aspiring Sorcerer here is going to Psybolt into my one Genestealer who can actually act, who looks like he's got some sense to him over there. Looking for a 5. It does go off. So now the injury test that is super important here. Flesh wound, command point, obviously. Oh, and he's out of action. All right, so no shooting phase, so into the fight phase here. My dude bro who charged is going to attack into him here. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's going to be 1 hit. Wounding on a 3. No, I'm going to spend a command point to reroll that. Oh, no. All right, so his combat specialist is now going to attack into my Acolyte leader over here. So he's going to have 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's all hits. Wounding on 2s, strength 6, toughness 3. That is all wounds. AP minus 1. So that's going to be 3 6-up saves. Show me 3 fill faces. Or show me none. So D3 is going to be just the first one here. So that's going to be 2 damage. So 2 injury rolls. But he takes a flesh wound. All right. All right, so my opponent's actually going to spend CP to re-roll his injury roll there. So we looked it up, and what it is you can re-roll an injury roll for the 1 CP tactical re-roll. And it says that for weapons that have more than 1 damage, you roll multiple dice for the injury roll. So you have to re-roll the roll just like you would a charge. You have to re-roll all of the dice. So here we go. Oh, and that 5, he's out. All right, so his Terminator over here is going to attack into my Pure Strain. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's 1 hit. Wounding on not on a 2. And then his leader over here will attack into me. 2 attacks. That's 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. That is 1 wound. AP minus 1. And he's good with a fill phase. Woo! All right, and that is the end of the round and the end of the game. So at the end of the game, I took out his commander and 1 of his specialists for a total of 4 points. My opponent took out my specialist and my commander and 3 of my specialists, leaving him with 7 points. So a victory to the Thousand Suns. Although I imagine that my guys will now just slink back into the shadows under the behest of their leader back here who survived, and they will regroup and suddenly find themselves charging back up through the sewers to fight them another day. So this was a ton of fun. I had a blast. It was so crazy, the shifts that kept happening. Like, he had his little fire base up here. He fought off that first wave of guys that came in, but the second wave just overwhelmed him. But then he survived it. He fought it out to the last man over here. And then over here, dropping his guys in from reserves. And my Aberrant that came back from the dead over there, rising up to assist there, came and started wailing into him. And almost pulled off the come from behind tie. So what I was gunning for at the end here, I had he could act and he could act. With that long ball charge that he got up to the top over here, that allowed him, if I had managed to kill off his leader over here, and if this guy had survived the psychic phase and had managed to kill off either of these 2 guys who were specialists, we would have tied, and that would have been crazy funny at the last turn, at the very end of turn 6, to manage to pull off the tie there after the way that went. That would have been crazy fun. So, a ton of fun. I had a blast. My opponent actually painted all of this scenery, and most of it, I think all of it, he scratch built, except for some of the scatter terrain. But and some of the stuff he had, the Kickstarter that he got there. But a lot of it, he put it together and painted it, which is pretty awesome. I am never going to complain about getting to play on such beautiful terrain. I love it. It really adds a whole nother level to the kill team here, literally and figuratively. Anyway, I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. I certainly have. I have been Phil the Glacial Geek as always. My opponent's been Neil, and until next time, have fun.